Hello everyone, this is the first video in the international series and I'll be talking about Israel-Palestine conflict in this. Now I have divided this conflict into various phases, and in the first video we'll be dealing with late 19th century until the Arab-Israeli War of 1948, just prior to which the nation of Israel came up. Okay, we'll be discussing the reason for this conflict, the role of European powers leading up to this conflict, as well as the UN partition plan and the Arab-Israeli war. We'll start with the seed of conflict. By seed, I mean what was the root cause of this conflict. Okay, as you know, the nation of Israel only came up in 1948. So whatever happened before that happened internally in Palestine. Okay, but this issue between the Israelis and Palestinians is definitely older than 1948. Okay, so during the late 19th century, there was a movement in the world by the name of Zionism. Now, Zionism is a movement of nationalist character. Okay, its objective was to set up a nation state for Jews. Okay, what was the reason for rise of Zionism? So in Europe, there was anti-Semitic waves going on. Anti-Semitic waves are hostility towards the Jew. Okay, they were discriminated against in many nations. The people of that country, the locals, the people from other religion were hostile towards the Jews. Okay, so this prompted them to have a separate nation for themselves. Similarly, there was a nationalist movement going on across the world. Italian unification, German unification, all this also made them strive for their own nation state. And finally, even the religious texts of Judaism, that is the Jew religion, talks about the Holy Land of Israel. Okay, it talks about setting up the Holy Land of Israel. So all these factors led to immigration of Jews to their Holy Land. Now the Holy Land of Jews here is Jerusalem. Okay, and Jerusalem at that time was located in Palestine. Jerusalem is a highly significant place for religious nature. Okay, it is a holy site of the Jews, it is the holy site of Christians, it is also the holy sites of the Muslims. Okay, so Jerusalem, which was in Palestine, was under the control of Ottoman Empire, and due to the movement called Zionism, these Jews, they started immigrating to Palestine. Now not only did they immigrate to Palestine, they also bought land there. Okay, the money was provided by various funds set up by the Jews. Okay, so funds were set up, and whatever Jews immigrated to Palestine, they were given money from this fund to buy land in Palestine. Okay, like if you look at what happened in India when the people from Bihar went to Mumbai in search of job, eventually the Marathas, they were not happy with this immigration and they started expelling these Biharis from Mumbai. Okay, there was mass exodus of Biharis from Mumbai. The reason was that these Biharis, they were taking up the jobs from local people, jobs like taxi driver, jobs like manual labor, jobs like street vendor, etc. Okay, now similarly in Palestine, when these Jews, they bought land there, what they did was they stopped employing the Muslims on those land. Okay, they preferred to employ Jew on lands bought by them. This created great animosity against the Jews from the local people, that is the Arab Muslims in Palestine. Okay, and especially like in the case of Bihar, Mumbai, these people were of same religion, but here these people are of different religion altogether. Okay, so this conflict was definitely larger than what happened in case of Bihar. So this was the root cause of this conflict, that is the Palestinian people were not happy with the immigrating Jews who bought land in their country and did not let the Muslims work on those land. Okay, this led to some small scale violence in Palestine. Apart from Zionism, the European powers also played major role in this conflict. Okay, as we all know that World War I broke out in 1914. Now during the World War, the Ottoman Empire supported Germany. And due to this development, England had to sign a deal with the Arab living in the region of Palestine that was under control of Ottoman Empire, that if they help in revolt against the Ottoman Empire, England will give them independence. Okay, so there are a series of letters exchanged between Arab leaders and England. These letters are known as Hussein-McMahon correspondence. So this took place in 1915. Okay. Now 2 years later, England issued a public statement declaring support for establishment of a national home for Jewish in Palestine. Okay. Now this declaration is known as Balfour Declaration. Now we'll look at why England was supporting the Jewish cause. Okay. So England noticed that the Catholic religion is under the French influence. Okay, so the French have sphere of influence on Catholic Christianity. Similarly, Russians had influence on the Eastern Orthodoxy, and Ottoman had their sphere of influence on Islam. So England, also wanting to increase its sphere of influence, decided to support Jews. Okay, and that was the reason for Balfour Declaration. Okay. Now England won the World War and Palestine was declared as a mandate of Britain. Okay. Couple this Palestine as mandate of Britain with Balfour Declaration, the Jews, they started migrating in huge number to Palestine. Okay. This led to series of riots in Palestine. For example, Jaffa riots. Many people were killed from both sides, and this also eventually led to creation of a defense force for Jews as to defend against Arab aggression in Palestine. Okay. Now fast forward 10 years, Hitler rose in Germany. Hitler had some prejudice against the Jews and thus he started Jewish prosecution. Okay, and due to this prosecution, there was a large exodus of Jews from Germany to Israel. Okay, at the same time, the Palestinian leaders, seeing that the Britain has not given, like Britain talked about Arab independence, but instead they decided to move their aim to set up a nation for Jews. They were not very happy with Britain, and during the Second World War, they decided to side with the Axis powers. Okay, so this distanced England and Palestinians, the Arabs, the Muslims in Palestine. Now, from our development, which we discussed, like the whole anti-Semitism movement, Jew moving to their holy land, the Balfour Declaration, Britain getting the mandate over Palestine, the exodus of Jews from Germany, all this led to huge demographic change in Palestine. Okay, so in 1890s, this green block here shows the population of Jews compared to the Muslims in Palestine. Okay, so Jew population was 8% of the total population. In 1915, this increased to 12%. Okay, by 1931, this was 18%. And if you go to 1947, the Jews comprised 31% of population of Palestine. So we saw that the demographic of Palestine changed considerably in the last slide. Okay. Now due to that changed demographic, the violence in the region, it exacerbated further. Okay. And it did not end with the end of World War II. Kept on going. There were riots going on, there were massacres from both sides. Okay. At the same time, in 1946, details of Holocaust came out. Holocaust is the event where Jews were prosecuted by Hitler in concentration camps. Okay, 6 million Jews from all across the Europe were killed in area dominated by Germany in the World War period. Now, when this information surfaced, there was a huge wave of sympathy for the Zionist movement. Okay, of course, 6 million people of a single religion dying in Europe, people will sympathize with their cause. And due to this sympathy, UN, which came up in 1945-6 after the end of World War, it decided to answer this Palestinian question and the question of Jewish nation state. Okay, so UN came with a partition plan. This partition plan envisaged division of Palestine into three parts. Okay, the first part was supposed to be an independent Arab state. The second part was to be an independent Jewish state. And finally, City of Jerusalem was supposed to be an international zone under the control of UN. Okay. Now this plan didn't go well with the Arab leaders. However, the Jews were quite satisfied with this plan of UN. Now the mandate period was set to expire on 15th May 1948. Okay. And in light of this, the British forces started withdrawing from Palestine. Okay, now since the British forces they started withdrawing, and already the region had so much conflict going on, so much hatred between two communities, the violence it further increased. I mean, the Jewish population in Palestine, they decided on one day before the expiry of the mandate, to declare independence of Israel. That is, it was supposed to be an independent Jewish state as per the UN plan. Okay, so the map on the left shows the UN partition plan of Palestine. Okay, in here the darker brown region was supposed to be Israel. It was not contiguous, as you see. There are different regions of Arab independent state here in a lighter color shown. Okay, this region to the west of Dead Sea was called as West Bank, and this was the Gaza Strip. Okay, and as you see, this Palestine or Israel, it's surrounded by Egypt, Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon on its side. Okay, all these four are Muslim nations. Once the independence of Israel was declared, these four nations, including Iraq and other Arab states as well, they were not happy with this. Okay, and of course they wouldn't be, because a new state was forming in between them, which was of a separate religion. Okay, so keeping this in mind, Jordan, Syria, Egypt, and Iraq, they invaded this newly formed area called Israel. Okay, this war is also known as Arab-Israeli War, and it lasted for over 9 months. It ended with victory of Israel. Okay, if you see this map towards the right, this is the area that Israel acquired after the end of this war. Okay, so Israel acquired area which was supposed to be under the Arab state. So Jerusalem, which was supposed to be an international zone, it got divided. East Jerusalem went to the control of Jordan, including the West Bank area, while the West Jerusalem was under control of Israel. Similarly, on the western coast or border of Egypt, only Gaza Strip remained in control of Arabs, which was actually under control of Egypt. Okay, so rest entirety of this area is Israel. Okay, now the Muslim nations, the Arab nations in the region, they were not happy with this result, and there are more wars that took place in the region, more violence took place, which we'll discuss in the next lecture. Thank you everyone, have a good day.